I have with me Michael Specter, a science writer for The New Yorker, and the author of Denialism, How Irrational Thinking Hinders Scientific Process, Harms the Planet, and Threatens Our Lives. I looked at your biography, and you made some interesting career choices. You went from writing about science to being a foreign correspondent in Rome and Moscow to writing about science. Why the detour, and what is science journalism or science writing to you?
It wasn't a detour. I wanted to live in different places and see the world, and I wrote about science in each of those places in great detail. But part of what my profession is a chance to see people, meet different types of people, go to places that other professions don't allow you to see, and I enjoyed that. So it was fun to live in Russia, it was fun to live in Italy, and in the end, I came back to mostly, though not solely, but mostly writing about science because I enjoy it and I find it challenging in a way that other things aren't.
What was your most challenging story?
A science story?
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I wrote a story a couple years ago about endogenous retroviruses, which are shards of viruses that once infected and hurt and killed our ancestors, but we have remnants of them in our junk DNA. They don't harm us anymore, and a bunch of scientists around the world have decided to try and put them back together and make them infectious and see how they work. And they've been successful at that, and it was very challenging to write about why they did it, how they're doing it, and what its implications are. Because it wasn't just sort of creepy science, though many people saw it as such. It's a way of, if you can put complicated retroviruses together, you might be able to take them apart in a way that we would like to be able to take the HIV virus apart and stop.
What was particularly challenging about this that wasn't so that you didn't find in the other stories?
It was a high degree of scientific specificity. I write for smart people, but they're not necessarily scientists. So to convey difficult issues of molecular biology in a way that won't make people want to throw the magazine out the window and keep reading is hard. It's hard to translate complicated science into sentences that people will understand, but that aren't so simplistic that people who actually know about the science think this is ridiculous. That's a tough thing to do.
The book just came out recently.
Mm-hmm.
I think you mentioned last night in the talk that you wrote it because you were angry, which is a good motivator, just like fear. And wanted to get a little bit more about what you were angry about and whether this was an anger that had added up over a number of years or whether there was just some specific things that really teed you off. And are you happy with the response?
Last question first. Yeah, I'm happy with the response because there's been a response. So if you write a book and people respond, whether they tell you how great you are or tell you how much they want you off the planet, I'm fine with both those responses, and I've had both those responses. It wasn't one thing. Over the years, I've been writing about these issues, and it built. And I kept seeing both remarkable progress. This is the most exciting time scientifically there's ever been. And there are questions. There are difficult, important ethical questions that we have to deal with in a number of levels, but the reaction to that, to me, has been so much fear and so much rejection of what is actually just obvious. I mean, to walk away from medicines that work and embrace dietary supplements that do not work and only interfere with good health, to refuse to vaccinate, which is the greatest scientific invention in terms of public health possibly there has ever been, to be obsessed about genetically engineered food, which in America may or may not be all that necessary, but in many parts of the world is essential for helping people who are dying and starving. These things got me angry because there's no reason for them. So, but that built over time.
When you wrote the book and when you conceived the idea for the book, you knew that you would get some people upset.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Because I don't want people to be comfortable. I want them to be challenged. If they want to get upset, it means they thought about it. And if they thought about it, some of them are going to reject what I have to say out of hand. Some aren't. Some are going to say, maybe he has a point. Maybe he has a point about some of it, but not all of it. I never want to write things that don't upset people.
If you had to put yourself in a particular group, would you say you are, in respect to science and science, how science is conducted by the scientists and how it is written about, you consider you're a romantic, yearning for the truth? You think you're a populist appealing to common sense? Or you think you're a New York know-it-all determined to set us all straight?
I've been accused of all those things. I'm not a romantic yearning for the truth because the truth isn't a romantic concept. It's a scientific concept that can be, to some degree, arrived at by the scientific method and by observation and repeated experiment. I think that works. I'm a person who believes that that method works and we need to communicate how it works to more people, and that the more we do that, the happier we'll be, the more we'll embrace progress, and the better it will be for us as humans, and that's been the story of the last 400 years. So in terms of all those categories, I mean, New York know-it-all, I mean, no.
You're in the South.
I mean, I don't pretend to know anything, but I know what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And I know that we have problems, and I'd like to address them.
I don't think we can talk about denialism without talking about the shrinking coverage of science in traditional mass media. How do you